And I want you guys to take a moment to reflect on how you feel on the inside. Favorite question is how you feeling. This is the perfect opportunity to go within. Sometimes we feel a little emotional, and that's okay. Sometimes we feel relaxed, and that is perfectly fine. But I don't want you to take any moments of forgetting how you feel and checking in with yourself. And throughout these conversations, we're going to encourage you to continuously check in with yourself because some things that are said may be triggering, some things are relatable, and sometimes you feel the need to just purge, may it be cry or an emotional outburst. And here is a safe space to do so, and it's okay. It is okay. We want you to be authentic and honest about how you feel in every moment because the healing is in the feeling. How are you, Ashley?
Good. Yeah, that workout today really just helped me ground myself. Like I realized I haven't been grounded in a couple, like truly grounded in a couple of months. So I'm just, I'm here. It's like I was on extended leave, but I'm back. My spirit was on an extended vacation, but we are all back. We are all in tune and aligned, and I'm going with the flow.
Yeah, yeah.
How are you?
The same. You know, you and I have had a few conversations these past months, and which led us to this togetherness and
Yeah.
just sharing. So, how I feel, there are some things that want to come up, if I am honest, because just like you, with all the things that we've been going through, it can get a bit much, and we can forget to ground, and we can forget to check in with ourselves. And so I'm excited about being intentional and being allowed the space to do that and to breathe and to be able to also talk about, and share with you and with everyone that this is real life. You know what I mean? This is truth and healing, and that's what we decided to name these broadcasts. So yeah, I'm feeling excited, nervous, feeling the need to just get back into expressing myself. So hold on to y'all seats.
Hey, if it's anything like I've seen, yeah, put your seatbelt on while you're at it.
You know what I mean? Because this, we want to be examples of what the healing journey is. We have our ideals, but we want to really break the myths and get down to the gutter of, what life is like and how we can help each other and navigating it because healing is definitely a communal effort.
Sure.
And some of us have really been tested in that these last few months. I'll share
I
you,
would say these past few years, if you want to start talking for real.
and you won't be lying. Okay.
Mm,
But then there's some great things, because we don't want to make it seem like it's all doom and gloom. It's not, because it takes the challenges for us to appreciate all the great stuff that has happened too. And then once we are honest with the challenges and the things that we're going through, we can set those boundaries. And you guys have heard us talk about the boundaries and things like that. And when we do those hard sets, we can now navigate in a way that we want to, in the life that we want. So before we get too far into it, right? Because she and I will go, okay? Just go.
here for hours.
So we wanted to take this moment to even just introduce who we are. Um, and Ashley, I'll let you go first. Look at her face.
I see what you did there. Well, my name is Ashley. I am the owner. How that sound? I'm the owner.
Sound good to me.
I'm the owner of Empress Energy. I really have, after the past few years that I've had, um, I was motivated, I was inspired to start my first business on my birthday of last year, which is March 15th, 2021. Okay. I turned 20 something. We ain't got to worry about the details, you know? And basically, the reason that I started my business is because I had to learn the hard way how to heal. Okay. I'm saying going from different churches to being used by everybody. It was so much stuff that I had to learn the hard way and by myself at that. That when I finally started finding my footing, because healing is a continuous process, I was like, I don't, if I can help anybody not go through all the stuff that I went through, why not?
Right.
So that's why I started my business. And through my business, I've been able to start selling different talismans, that help healing. Aaminah certified me in Reiki 1 and 2. Yes. And that was an experience in itself, which I feel like that's gonna come up in the conversation eventually. Okay.
Hey, it's honesty.
I'm still salty, but we're gonna leave that alone. But you've seen my experience firsthand with some of the healing I had to go through. And that was only last year, okay? That's not counting the years and years before that, So through the healing that I've experienced and the healing that I'm still experiencing, I created a safe space for myself, which is my business, as well as for other people, where we get the chance to be honest about what we go through in healing. Because, everybody sugarcoats it. Everybody makes it seem like being spiritual is the new trend, and we're just going to do what we got to do when we got to do it, but it's so much deeper than that. It's when you're in your bed at night sleeping, whether with your spouse or by yourself. That's healing. Okay, healing is behind the scenes of your Instagram posts.
Hello.
So I wanted that safe space that allowed myself to express what I went through, because for so long I felt as if I did not have a voice.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, it wasn't until the past 2 years that I truly realized that I even had a voice, besides what everybody expected of me. So yeah, I offer talismans, I offer card readings. I even created an ebook that it embodies the steps that I started taking initially when I started with my healing. And I'm not going to start marketing and all that. I just wanted to give an overview of.
But it's okay. This is your space.
Yeah, because I'll start
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And I'm Aaminah Sai, owner of Aaminah Sai Coaching. And thank you for saying safe space, because background of me, we talk about certifications. I am a Reiki master teacher, also a conscious erotic touch practitioner certified, and that also certified in cosmic sexuality as well. So I deal a lot with the energies and intimacies and the preparation behind the togetherness, but as well as how do we heal on the individual level. And then my business was created, to fulfill the need of those who were honest about their healing journey or honest about where they are and just wanted something different, right? A lot of times, well, we have spoken previous about even just my background. I definitely have an affinity to people who have experienced sexual traumas and want to move beyond that and get reconnected with their body so they can have the ultimate experience. And the ultimate experience isn't always with penetrative sex, but how do I feel whole with myself and present myself whole and be able to connect with others and just have it be like the best experience of my life. In the beginning of my business journey, it was I want people to learn how to get past depression. You know what I mean? Because some of us, and we'll talk deeper into it, have been in the darkest of the nights, right? Um, we hit that root chakra today because we might be touching on some familial things, but some of us have been through the darkest of nights. And just using my life story, you know, I did the work as best as I could. You know, I did the therapies, and it was always this, but still, why am I going back to this feeling? Why am I still here? How do I get out of this darkness? And that's how I stumbled across energy healing and the need to release. And I had practiced it for some years before I even got comfortable with wanting to teach it to other people. I knew sex because, you know, I was introduced to sex at an early age, you know, studied it and everything else. I knew what trauma was like. I know how to, you know, make it feel good and things like that. But what happens when the misuse of that interferes with the flow of who you are? And not only that, we're going to talk about abuse, we're going to talk about neglect, we're going to talk about the feelings of being unsafe, you know what I'm saying? No one's protecting you in certain situations, and how that translates into the relationships that we have with each other. You know, so then and it's not only women that go through it, men go through that too. So I've learned on my journey that men are having the same issues, and now we're trying to get together and make these magical moments happen, but we're coming into this togetherness with all this pain. So navigating that. So Aaminah's coaching is definitely based on, you know, working on the self first, in healing ourselves before we can go and share love, because I'm a proponent of, you know, you're loving your neighbor as you love yourself. And I can't expect you to love me if you can't love yourself, right? And I wanted to be an example of that. So we have these shared spaces where we can talk about intimacy, we could talk about sex, because there is orgasmic pleasure, honey, after the trauma and the pain. All right. We've got some tools that you could use, but we also got some tools to healing that can be used to propel that too, to make you feel good about yourself, to avoid you going into situations with other folks that could potentially further hurt or, you know, increase the wound that you had already had prior to that. So that's a spiel about Aaminah side.
That was good. That was good. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you. Thank you. So I loved what you had said about healing. It is a forever journey, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's a continuous journey. And in my courses, I teach people that healing is definitely the reparation, the removal, and the purging of anything that interrupts the universal flow that's within you. So I like to challenge people a lot. I like to have them ask the question. You know what I'm saying? When I say how you feeling, I'm asking you to check in with yourself. Are you flowing? Is there any part of you that feels a little blocked off? You know what I'm saying? When I say emotional and the things I want to come up, is there a part of you that, you know, that emotion stop or that feeling stop? You know what I mean? Is there a block there? I ask you to, you know, really look into yourself, challenge yourself to feel. And we're going to take about 10 seconds. How am I feeling? I'm really counting in my head right now, 10 seconds.
I did want to emphasize something that you said though about feeling. Um, should I wait the 10 seconds?
I think we passed 10 seconds. We're good.
Okay. So one thing that you said that really stuck out to me is feeling, because, and I can speak on this because I've experienced it, is as you go through life, certain things actually make you numb to your feelings, you know, your emotions. So it's like it gets to the point where you start feeling things physically. And that's how some of us, well, I know I was raised, and I know a few people that were raised like that, where you feel something in your body. It's people don't connect that with how you're feeling mentally, emotionally. They're more like, oh, well, we got to take it to the doctor now. Oh, we got to go to the hospital now. Let's see. And it's like, no. Sometimes that's just a physical symptom that's showing up for something way deeper than that. So that understand, paying attention to how you feel and allowing yourself to understand it is very important. That is, I feel like that's one of the biggest pillars to healing. When you allow yourself to just feel, whether it's physical, emotional, whether you don't want to feel it, what you're feeling is very necessary when it comes to healing.
Right.
And it's better you accept it rather than learn it the hard way.
Hello. Hello. And to even emphasize a little more on your emphasis. Because my coursework is not just Reiki, it's more on the sensual energy, right? And people misconstrue what sensual is. Sensual is not about sex, but it is about the body and the senses. And there's no way for you to be connected if you can't feel any of that, right? All of it is just it's necessary. It's a part of who you, and it's a part of the experience of life. And even with myself, and a lot of us have been through this where we have been conditioned to cut off some of our emotional, sectors of ourselves to be able to survive, right? So a part of our survivor tools was, I will not allow myself to be vulnerable, aka I will not allow myself to feel what I'm feeling because A, either no one really cares about it, or B, nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it hurts me too much. Um, these past few months, our family has really been going through it, right? So y'all gonna learn that I'm an oversharer with my life because my life is a lesson. There's a few ways that you can learn it, but honey, you can either go through it yourself, you can read about it, or you can learn from someone else's experience. And I'll hope you choose the latter at times. So with our family, um, I had a diagnosis last year that led me to get a surgery, and it was a removal of the thyroid gland that had cancer in it, right? And a lot of people didn't know I went through that, and I didn't tell that to everybody because for various reasons, right? But while I had that going on, I had my grandfather, going through chemo with leukemia, and then we had an aunt that had 6 months to live because of cancer. So cancer was a big, you know, theme of last year, but it's like a taboo in our family too. But in the midst of that, my grandfather ended up in the hospital on the 22nd of December. COVID-19 got him, and then he had a severe reaction. He was in the ICU for a long time. So now the focus is on granddad again. Now to this day, he's still in the hospital. But I got to see how the lack of each other helped with the decline in his health because he was in isolation for like 21 days. And they will allow us to see him on Duo, but we could see him decline and miss people and miss connections and things like that. And you could see how the different people in my family coped with it. Some people are a little hardcore and they're just like, hey, it is what it is. And some people's attitudes and the lack thereof of empathy, you know what I'm saying? You could see these things, and I had a hard time. Ashley was able to hear some of it, but I had a hard time because not only did I have to deal with my own healing, I had to deal with being around the family that I left, you know what I'm saying? So I can heal myself. And it re-triggered a lot of things. And it reminded me of how cold I used to be because in order to survive that atmosphere, I had to cut off my feelings because when you're dealing with a tribe of people who ain't got none, you know what I'm saying? You can get hurt. You can really get hurt and burned by it. And I tend to be a little vocal. So, I say all of that because there are a lot of us who deal with that in order to be able to sustain or survive or even just make it to the next day. We develop this numbing to be able to cope with it or survive even just the freaking family. So some major things came up. And then recently, and we can segue into this, I learned about emotional paralysis. And that goes into feeling because for 5 days, I had a lot of things that I had to do or I wanted to do. But because of all of that was going on, I noticed that I couldn't move. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't, act because emotionally I was so out of whack that I couldn't, the emotional part of us paralyzes us. And I say that because knowing how that feels, a lot of us did need to put on the numbing cream
Right.
so we can continue to move, because to identify how we feel meant we had to sit in it, and some of us can't move through it. So prayerfully throughout these conversations, we'll give you the tools to teach you how to move through that and not fear feeling. And it's natural. It's natural. So yeah.
I just want to say, in addition to that, not being able to enjoy your feelings, not being able to be happy, or having to turn off your feelings just to get by, that's survival mode. That is not living. That is not living. If anybody's in that circumstance, in that situation, there is a brighter side. There is a tunnel, and there's light at the end of that tunnel.
Mhm.
So don't we it's a process of understanding that the generations before us, they were in survival mode, and we're the generation now that is leaving that behind and stepping more into living, and getting there is possible as long as you're willing to do that work and be uncomfortable so you can get comfortable.
Right, because in reality, you're already uncomfortable. Who likes to feel like a zombie? Right? Like, really, can you really enjoy anybody or anything from that space when you cut off that stuff? I'm gonna tell you this, and this is gonna get real gutter, but it's hard to have an orgasm if you ain't feeling the strokes. Okay,
Right.
you're right, and this is what I teach in the intimacy part. You know what I mean? If you aren't able to like feel every moment of that experience, how can you enjoy yourself or the person that you're sharing that experience with? You just robotic at that point. And that's what we're trying to break, because we are in a world of robots already. We see people imitating what they see all the time. We see people losing individuality. You know what I'm saying? And here we are over here like, yo, individuality is cool. And feeling is cool too. I bet you can enjoy your life if you just allow yourself to feel and love. And we're not saying love, just for the sake of saying love. We're actually feeling it when we are saying it.
Mm-hmm.
you know and that actually brought me to, we've been having a lot of discussions with my family. And I told my grandmother when I was having a hard time with my family, and even trying to like even digest it. You know how they are, people aren't going to change and things like that, but I was still having a hard time. And I was like, I have done a great job of creating an atmosphere of love, that coming back to this is so foreign that it is kind of messing me up. Like, I don't understand it. And I was telling her, in my world, we say love all day long. Me and my children, you're gonna hear it in my household about 5 to 10 times per day. We make ourselves, not even make ourselves, but we have like this thing where you have to give at least 5 or 8 hugs. So there's a requirement of hugging per day to make a person feel good. So we attempt to, hug about 5 to 8 times consciously. So because I have removed myself from the familiar and I have created these spaces, you will learn in a healing process that is necessary. And that when you go back into those spaces, it's like, how did I even survive this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the testimony is that you can, and you can create that. And that's what our agenda is, helping you to create the life that you want, the love that you want, the feelings that you want. And it's not going to go without, any shakeup, because you have to unlearn and you have to detox, and nobody likes the detoxing process. But healing is not a microwavable situation.
Child, say it louder for the people in the back. Whew.
Yeah. So then here's another challenging question, right? Look at where your life is right now. Clap it up for what you survived through. you know, but then challenge yourself, to ask yourself, what kind of life do I desire? What kind of life can I create for myself? It is where I am right now. Am I really satisfied with this? Like, am I really, not comfortable, but satisfied? Can I wake up every morning happy at where I am right now in this life?
Mm.
And if you cannot see that happiness right now, well, shoot, what's going to make me happy? And jot that down.
Mm, yes. And if you already happy, what's gonna make you happier?
You
That
sharing
was a
happiness with others.
mouthful. That was a mouthful right there.
Yes, my jaws got tired on that one.
I feel like that question is like a catalyst because I remember um initially when I had hit my rock bottom, I was like, I was asking myself, I'm not happy. I'm not happy where I'm at. So what would I need to do to feel that way? You know, I if you look on TV, if you look on social media, don't get me started about social media.
A
Everybody's
little shake
happy.
like, eh, eh, eh.
Right. Like everybody's happy. What am I? What can I do? Or what? Or initially, what was I doing? What was I doing wrong? And then it turned to what can I do to have my form of happiness? You know, because at the time I was, you know, like in church and or I was trying to be in church and stuff, and I was like focused on the principles and stuff. Listen, it's a lot. I was focused on the principles and stuff, and I'm this like this can't be it for me. This cannot be it for me. You know, y'all, you know, I have a wild imagination. Okay, so the things that I wanted to see in my life, I'm like, where I'm at right now, I don't see this happening. Okay, I'm being scammed over here. I don't see how growth is going to happen. What do I need to do to be happy? You know, and then that question right there is a catalyst because it really makes you take a look at yourself and what's happening around you, understand what needs to be changed based off of what you can control. And man, that question right there, that question in itself should be a whole course. I'm not even lying to you.
Maybe we need to create it. But you made a great point because I'm a preacher's kid, and so I know that background all too well. We know about all the commandments, living right. Look, I said we heard all the scriptures, can memorize it and everything, but there was still this sense of emptiness, right? Where there was like some, well, maybe, and this is a deep one, right? Because if I'm not getting it and y'all swearing this is what's gonna make me happy, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
The same thing happens with like, social media. Everybody's perceiving themselves happy. And if you do this product, I promise you everlasting life blissfully. And then you purchase the product and you ain't get the blissful life. And you're like, wait a minute, again, what am I doing wrong? So what happens is you start blaming yourself or looking at yourself as broken because you are not getting what the marketing is promising you, right? This is what led us to these kind of conversations because yes, you can create the life that you want. Yes, you can be happy. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be goddamn lying to you. Let's setting the proper expectations. I would lie to you if I said that there wasn't some shakeup and some things that you had to get rid of, right? So an analogy or a thought that I had this morning was, no, you have a house that is already built, but going into this house, you see all these holes in the wall and you want to rehab. This is you trying to heal yourself. Healing is a rehab situation, right? What do you do with the hole in the wall? Some people might put a little plaster on it and put a little paint on it, whatever, but there's a piece still missing there. A proper contractor and say, you know what, we're gonna have to remove that whole wall and put a whole one up. This is what healing is like. Sometimes you're going to have to remove whatever was in that place already, remove whatever idea you had about whatever it was. You're going to have to remove that and replace it. And that's what we're doing with both of our businesses, and the healing community should be doing also. The parts that have the holes and are broken down and things like that, we're giving you the tools to use to be able to rebuild it your way, your way. And it's not going to come without work.
Mm.
How many times have you seen anyone just sit down at a hole in the wall and just watch it repair itself?
Probably
You
gonna
got to
watch
do
those
something.
termites eat at it.
You know, you can call for help, get some assistance. But if you ever had an issue again, and if you don't want to pay for it, you know what I mean? You will watch the help and how they work on your wall and know how to do it yourself in the future to save money. This is how I look at energy. To save your energy, once you learn it, you will know how to do it and fix it yourself instead of relying on other people. With my services, you know what I'm saying, and other people's services, a lot of people look at practitioners as the worker who's going to fix it all the time. That's not true healing. You know what I'm saying? We could show you, but you're really not going to get it. And there's something about a joy that you get when you know how to do it yourself and you saved that energy and that currency, you know. So that was a full cycle look at, this is what the healing is like. But comparing yourself to social media, like looking at some of the things that are on there, and you do yourself a disservice when you believe the hype.
Right.
And sometimes when you even buy into it, there's some great salesmen out there.
Right. And I had to learn that, but it took me time to learn that.
Yeah.
I had to learn it the hard way. Huh.
Remember, I think I told you this. The only time I felt good in church one time, right? I heard all the stories about, yeah, save yourself into marriage. Oh, we were a virgin when we had got together. We've been together for 50 plus years and stuff like that. And here I am, like, boy, I have been touched, molested, and stuff. And certain age, I started having sex. So am I not promised that? You start comparing yourself. But it was one time when this minister had got up there. She stood up there and she was militant. You know what I mean? Just no sugarcoat. I was like, okay, she just like my mother. And she's just like, you know what? And she got to talking about we need to learn how to talk to the holes in the street and bring them in. And it's hard for us to relate if we ain't never been there. So she talked about her life. And I said, I connect with that because I've had those experiences. And if she can stand tall and proud today, she is who I want to listen to. So I
Mm-hmm.
was a person in the church that I was picky on who I let pray over me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't talk to everybody, but the people who weren't afraid to tell me their life story, I connected with. And that's something that I want, that if I can pass anything, pass out, a tip to use when you are getting assistance, kind of, talk to the one that's been there a little bit more than the one who's, not saying that the people that are book smart can't do it. They have a book and the working knowledge and stuff, but you got to really ask yourself, what I'm saying, can I relate to this, or is this person honest enough to me where I feel like it is possible, as opposed to the people who are always just posting the sunshines on the page, couples goals.
And you know what? I honestly, just the backstory, so it makes sense what I'm about to say. So you already know this, where there's my birth mother, and then she has a cousin who was married to a pastor. My birth mother didn't raise me; her cousin did, and her cousin, I call her cousin my mom. Like till this day, she's my mom. She's my best friend. So I grew up a pastor's kid as well. It was a Haitian Baptist church, okay? But honestly, they are the only ones that I have known in my entire life that practice what they preach. They were the only ones. Like I'm saying, the same way he would be on the stage, the stage,
Pulpit, whatever. Yeah.
pulpit, yeah. The same way he would be in front of the congregation preaching to them, and advising them and guiding them, the same way she was working with the woman and stuff. It was the same way at home. For me, the only issue that I had was I kind of felt like that was their focus. They were more worried. They were more their attention was more on the congregation. Not to say that I didn't get love. I did get love. I was a spoiled child. I just felt like emotionally I wanted more when I think back to that time. Okay. So there was a point in time where I wanted to get to know my birth sisters because I grew up with brothers and they were both older than me, but I had two younger sisters and an older sister that was like out of the country that I didn't know. So I ended up moving in with my birth mother in my early teens. Like I was about to graduate middle school. So like halfway through the year, I went to go live with my birth mother. And it's like I went from having this veil of protection and love and just hearing stories of the craziness to living that shit. Okay. I'm sorry. That boy. Like from the moment I left that house, it was like everything I went through. I was like, so this is why people go to church and stuff. And I tried to keep it going. And it's like the more I tried to get involved in church and stuff like that, the more it didn't go how I thought it was, the worst it got. Let me say that. So I get the whole thing with the church. Like it took me having to leave that, that home that I grew up in, my childhood home, to truly experience that side of things. And that's why I'm able to understand what you're saying. And it's like, I was going somewhere with this.
Take your time. It happens.
Too much. Oh my God. I was going somewhere with this. I really was going somewhere with this. It was that backstory.
It took you back.
Oh my gosh. But anyways, yeah. I guess what I'll say to wrap that all up is there's one thing I used to always hear, and it still sticks with me to this day, where it's like, especially when you're on your healing journey, and that's my words added to it, is when you start focusing on healing, and seeing what's happening around you. I'm getting close to remembering. It's like there's a lot of fake in the world versus real. A lot of people they're in it for the instant gratification, whereas there's people like us who's in it more for the long term. Like I don't need to make $1 right now. I'll make $1 a year from now, but as long as I know that I've helped you in that year, I'm perfectly fine with that. So it's like you're on your healing journey, you need to understand what they call like the fruits of the spirit in the Bible, right? The product, the way somebody is, the fruits of a person is how you truly get to understand and truly process whether they have the best intentions or the worst intentions for you. We just don't go with that because maybe
no, but you brought up a key point, and also healing, though, the removal from your comfort zone, saying, from one house to another house. It wasn't until I left my hometown. I mean, I told them I'm from Illinois, guys. So from Illinois, I went to Georgia one time. I said, "Ooh, this feels good." I'm gone. And nobody believed that I was leaving until I had the U-Haul truck and my baby in the car seat. And I was like, y'all gonna help me pack this truck up? And I drove that U-Haul truck from Illinois to Georgia with my oldest son in the front seat. It was just me and him, you know what I'm saying, to our new location. And that's when the real work started. Although we grow up in certain atmospheres, and sometimes it takes us to leave atmospheres to see how much more life can be, and to even just find out who you are by yourself. Because it's easy for people to tell you who you're supposed to be. Hello, because we've all had that. Someone try to tell us who we're supposed to be and what's going to help, you navigate through the world via survival mode. And it's all to make other people comfortable with your presence. But internally, you are like dying on the inside, because at not one point were you accepted for who you truly are. Some of us couldn't speak our true feelings in our own homes and stuff. And there was always a pecking order when you did come around family or things like that. And you're just like, you're crashing and burning. It took me to have real life anxiety attacks that felt like heart attacks for me to finally say to a therapist, because he was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to leave. I want to leave, because it was me recognizing where I am right now is not healthy for me.
Mm.
So when I ask a person to think, am I really happy or am I satisfied with where I am now? It may be comfortable, but if you have that inkling that you just feel like you are not you and you're not living there, or a death inside, that's when you know that a transition is needed, a change is needed. Not a transition to the death world, but a change is definitely needed. And sometimes it takes that for you to really shine and see what was missing, and also begin to create what you want to have. So yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of us, especially in the Black community, has experienced that. You know, we've been told for so many years, and a lot of people gonna get upset about this. But I've had this discussion with my parents, so if I can have it with them, I can have it with y'all. All right. Sometimes growing up in that church it wasn't, it pained me more than me being in the streets at times. And that's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? I didn't learn what love was until I left the church, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
It
You
does.
know, and I remember a conversation my mom and I had. She said, don't you think that I lived my life the best way possible, according to the word? I said, maybe through your interpretation of the word. However, I didn't feel love, wanted, or whatever, because sometimes people serve the church way more, and that's their focus. And some of us are the children that grew up in it. When they say the preacher's children are the worst children, you have to look at where was their time spent. You know, you expected the child to just follow the parents' role, but no one looks at, well, how much time is being spent with that child, or does that child need anything? You just automatically expect that child to be strong and be able to handle stuff. I'm in my 40s and people still think that. Like when I was breaking down last year, the people who got to see that, they're like, wait, what? Whoa, she does have feelings. She does, what I'm saying? Just breaking down. It's just like, I've always had this, but people had this ideal of my strength, what I'm saying? And strong doesn't always necessarily mean I don't want or need anybody.
Right.
It's those individuals that need people the most. And it's okay to be honest with that. So I like to do this thing with like what I wish I knew, when it comes down to anything, right? So we're talking about healing and what I wish I knew. You know, at that time, I had really, really wished I had knew that it was okay to be honest about my feelings from the jump, and understand that there was a community of people who could have assisted me had I been strong enough or brave enough. I'm gonna say brave enough to go outside of my surrounding circle. Um, that was something that I wish I knew. I kind of wish I did know how tough this was gonna be, but I'm grateful for all the challenges, because it made me who I am today. But what I wish I knew and what I want to share with you all is there are community people who really care and who have space for you, who will listen to you, who will love on you the way you need to be loved. And it's not through sex. Maybe it's a hug, and maybe just a leaning ear. But I had wished I knew that at that age.
Mm.
What are some things you wish you had knew then?
Wow. There is so much so many emotions that question brings up. I will say, and this is what I was going to say earlier, looking back, and even when I talk to my mom, I see, the limitations, based off of the belief. So everything that I was saying, I that's where I wanted to get at, the the mind gets so limited when you just focus on what you read, but there's so much more to that. And that's what I wish I knew. I wish I knew that I wasn't limited to my environment. When I was in Miami, even when I went to live with my birth mother, I wish I knew that I could say no regardless of how that made anybody else feel.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew that I had a spiritual team by my side the whole time. Okay. I wish I knew that I was not alone, because I I used to just feel so alone, and I would just get lost in books. Like, I love reading, but
Mm-hmm.
I used to run to books to feel the love that I felt like I wasn't getting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, can I add one more? I wish I knew that I was perfect the way I was.
Mm, yes.
Ooh, girl, I felt that when I was coming up.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, feel it coming up. People will make you feel like you're a deficit
Mhm.
or that you're broken because you don't fall in line with everyone else. And then you question the things that you naturally gravitate to. Girl, I feel it in my ears too.
Pop,
Right?
just pop it in. Pop it
It's like, oh, I feel it. I wish I knew that I was good and great the way I was. And there would be people who would accept me just for that.
in.
I did not have to change me. That I was just honestly expressing to people what was needed for me. And yeah, I loved different. I loved, period. You know what I mean? Because I grew up in an atmosphere that was scared to love. They were numb to that. Um, I told you about the conversation I had with my grandmother about love, and when she had said that, you got to be careful with how often you say love, because you say it too much, people will think it's common. And I'm like, it should be common practice to say
Right.
I love you and to mean it, right? So I wish I knew that it was okay to love then, and it would have saved me years of being fearful of love and
Mm.
opening up sooner. Yeah, but I was okay the way I was. So if I could share that with anybody else, you are perfectly fine the way you are. Because I would never want anyone to question who they are and compare it to other people. Yeah, I'm feeling it, and I'm trying to talk it away, but
Let it out now. Let it out.
yeah, you're perfect the way you are. There's nothing wrong with you. Society is just different. And society just doesn't know how to respond to your honesty and you showing up authentically to show them what is missing or what they may be lacking within themselves or what they may be comfortable of facing. You're okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Girl, you talking to my inner child right now. You are talking to my inner child right now. Because when I tell you one thing that I experienced, I have never been skinny in my life. Let's just call a thing a thing. I have never been skinny. But that was always a problem for everybody else. So it was watching what I eat, being, like, just, I was supposed to be like this little soldier, be seen, not heard. It was never said, but it was always implied. Like, I'm just supposed to be here and just take everything as it is, So it was a lot of, I used to, I used to be on strict diets. I was too authentic. Okay. I was too real. So being quiet and that I carried that for years. Like, it took years for me to accept my chubby cheeks. Okay. It
You're so
took years.
cute. You're cute.
Look, and I'll be trying, but it ain't going nowhere. Okay. I'm just like, like dude said in Fat Girls, you will never be a size 5. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just accept it. Like, I don't want to be a size 5. I've never wanted to be one, but no. Like, so you are literally speaking to my inner child when you say you are perfect just as you are, because for so long that made me feel like, I couldn't say certain things, I couldn't defend myself. When I moved in with my mother, nobody defended me. You know, like I had cousins that were blood that would come down and just be so nasty. And when I stood up for myself, she would just be like, "Oh, like that's it. You're my mother. I'm, you know, like the safe space I need, the protector I need. You're that's not you, you know." So it also made me question my worth. Like, am I not worthy for you to have my back? You know, so you saying you are perfect as you are, it just hits so many different points in my childhood, bro. Like, you don't understand. So thank you for saying that.
Welcome. You're very welcome.
That's
Your
like healing
inner
that
child hugs your inner child right now. 'Cause They
I,
both they're both best friends right now. They're like,
yes.
"Hey, let's go play now."
Like, that was healing that I didn't even realize was waiting to happen.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm gonna share this thing before we go into the things to avoid, because I literally had that conversation about the advocate last night with my own mom. Um, with all the stuff that I had going on with the family that you and I were talking about, and the attacks when you did the best way, the best that you could, or whatever, and people just attacking you because they feel like you're an easy prey. And because you've been quiet all this time, and because they have this perception of, well, she's a loving one, she's emotional, but we can do whatever we can to her and whatever, right? And I had got so angry, because when you have dealt with a life of people coming at you and attacking you and stealing your energy and doing things like, like, and you're always asking yourself, why do I keep getting messed with?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I asked her, I said, these same people will come to you and act like they ain't did nothing to your child. When have you ever told them that they were wrong? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever stood up for me? Have you ever checked the mother effer for coming at your baby the wrong way? And and with our family, we got this thing like we just know how they are, and that's just and our family got issues and stuff like that. But it does not negate how that made me feel.
Right.
So that's a question, or that's a topic we may have to discuss in the future. When you've lived your life, when you didn't have nobody advocate for you, it's still a sore spot, but it's hard for us that don't have advocates, and we had to learn how to be an advocate for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows up in different ways. So at times when I look at people that just have outbursts, sometimes certain ones, I'm like, no one ever advocated for themselves, for them, so they had to find a way to do it, and it just showed up that way because they didn't had enough. Now some people are overboard with it, but I have a sore spot for people who didn't have advocacy, and I have found myself even attempting to protect those who didn't have advocacy. So my mouth is fierce with it. It's just like, you're not going to mess with that person. You're not going to do that. I stand up. You come to me with foolishness, and I know a person. Don't come to me with that foolishness, because that's not how they are. You know. And I've had a lot of things said about me, a lot of things, because people misunderstood who I was or what I was for, and they don't know my life. So you really reminded me of that child that had no advocate. And that is definitely a discussion we're going to have, how to be your own advocate and how to even surround yourself with advocates, you know, because that is possible. Yeah.
That's gonna be, boy, I can already feel it. That's gonna be a heavy topic because a lot of people don't talk about it, you know, and even if you had one or both parents in the household, it's like a lot of people feel that way. I'm listening while I heard you speaking. I can think of many people that I've spoken with that have said the same thing in different words, you know. So it's this is the type of conversation that needs to be had. Okay,
Yeah.
so I can imagine that there's going to be a lot of healing that's going to be happening behind that conversation alone.
Yeah. So bring your tissue boxes, because I know with me, my eyes is watering, my nose is whatever. It's going to happen because we're all going to heal together.
Right.
Don't think just because I teach this in the spirit that I don't still go through certain things, because during this, where was it? This Venus retrograde, a lot of these things came back to show me what my love was based off on and what I have even accomplished in my love journey, despite what I had. You know what I mean? It's hard for people to love when they feel like they never had love. It's hard for people to, to care about you when no one ever cared about them. And I get it, but you know what I'm saying? It's a better way. It's a better way. Woo, honey.
And it is possible because at one point I was one of those people. And now I have so much love to give that I don't think anybody can handle it.
Yeah, yeah. They be like, your love is strong to me. They're like, oh, your love is good. It's damn good, but boy, it's strong. And hey, and that's what I was born to do. You know what I'm saying? I was born to be that. So before we wrap it up, we like to kind of share like some things to avoid when you're on this healing journey. So what are some things you would encourage people to avoid when they're in the midst of healing?
Had to put my head back for this one. Where did I start? Please, please, please. One thing I will say, it is so important to be in touch with your intuition, even if you're just learning how to develop it. Don't let other people tell you how to heal. Okay? Do not. At the end of the day, you're the one who's experienced what you've been through. Okay? The way you need to heal is already within you. You just have to tap into it. So when it comes to healing, don't let anybody tell you how you need to heal. If it feels right to you, go that route. Okay? I'm not even gonna talk about stories of what happened. Wow. If you want to say one, you can go ahead. I had to
Yeah,
get that one
we
off.
have a lot of stories, but yeah. So what's the next one or anything else?
I'm gonna have to think about it because that one right there really just got me. So you can
Yeah,
start. I
yeah.
gotta think of a few.
Things to avoid: feeling like you have to do this alone.
Mm.
Um, I was one that tried to figure it out by myself, and it's a long, hard road, and parts of it is going to be a road that you have to travel by yourself. But a physical example that I saw of that is when my grandfather's in this hospital fighting for his life, and he felt alone. And every day we kept hearing about him declining and declining and declining. But then the moment my grandmother and my aunt was able to finally come see him after the quarantine, he feeding himself. He can feel his legs and his feet, and he was talking a little bit more. Never, never underestimate connections and the need for other people. There's no such thing as I could do this by myself. You know, it's try to let me know, but it's definitely hard. So try to avoid doing it alone, but understanding that, everybody ain't ready for your journey and everybody don't have your best intentions and your best or your highest good, if you want to use those trendy terms or whatever, at heart. Some people will put their fears on it. So you got to be careful of people who make you feel like nothing will change and that's what your life is supposed to be like. um, Avoid people telling you that you attracted this to yourself. And I know that's going to go against what a lot of people are out there saying, right? And I'm going to tell you, nothing is worse than you beating yourself up thinking that you have brought upon you every horrible experience in your life. You did not ask for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, things are presented for you to learn from them, right? But some people say that so they don't have to take accountability for what they do and what they did. So be very cautious and and intentional about who you deal with or whatever. Everything Things happen for a reason, yes, but don't fall into the fallacy or the myth that you asked for that before you came into this world. You signed this contract. We've all heard it. You signed this contract and you agreed to go through all this. I wish a mother ever would tell me that I had asked for molestation, that I've asked for rape, that I asked for people, you know, we can go down a list of the things that I went through personally, that I asked to be in a family that made me feel alone. That's some foolishness. You didn't ask for that, but we can use those things to sharpen the tools that you can help, give to other people. but I don't ever want you to blame yourself for that. Um, Avoid situations that revert you back to those pain points.
Mm.
Some of us are comfortable in pain. We've learned to thrive in it. Um, so it's easy for us to fall back into things that we are addicted to. And some of us are addicted to pain. Yeah, it takes you to be honest. So I don't want you lying to yourself. Avoid lying to yourself. If you feel bad, you feel bad. Stop this. Oh, how you feeling today? I'm fine, good and dandy. No, you're not. If you feel like shit today, just like this is not a great day today. You know what I'm saying? You rob people of the chance to help you or offer you assistance. Um, yeah, I don't want you falling for the okie doke, and definitely don't avoid believing that what you see on social media, internet, or even on certain TV screens are factual. Because, like Ashley said earlier, people not showing you what's behind the curtain. It's like watching a beautiful play, but you don't see all the mechanics that are going behind close, behind that curtain. Yeah. So those are some things to avoid. There gonna be some more things, but that's all
I thought of a few more as well.
to go for it.
Um, don't be obsessed with healing.
Oh
Yeah, when you get over that hurdle, that feeling can be addictive. Don't don't get addicted to it. Don't get obsessed with it. Just let it flow. You know, there's gonna be good days. There's gonna be bad days. You know, don't allow healing to run your life. It'll
yeah.
happen when it needs to happen. Child learned that one. um, just go with the flow. You know, don't allow it to consume your days. Just wake up and, oh, what can I heal today? What can I heal? Just go with the flow. Okay, make memories, make good memories while you're in that process of healing. And I love what you said about connections. Connections are so important because back in October I lost my father. Well, my father transitioned to the other side. Okay, and it's been a hard 3 months for me, and I'm finally starting to find my way. But it's like speaking with you and a few other individuals have really helped me to remember that I'm still a part of this world. Because at one point, I'm not gonna lie, I contemplated suicide, because I couldn't see a world without him. He's been there my whole life. So connections are so important. Connect with people that are healthy connections. Okay.
Yeah.
Healthy connections. Because you might have that one friend that be like, oh yeah, go do it. Go ahead. No, healthy connections. And don't let your healing be a show. Make sure the intentions behind your healing are for you and no one else. Okay. Again, with social media, you're only seeing what people want you to see. There's times where you need to be vulnerable, but that's not for anybody else, but for yourself and whoever your spiritual team or the coach you're working in, whatever the case may be. Don't put your healing as a show. This is not the movie. Okay. Don't make a show out of your healing. Make sure your intentions are for you and they're pure.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't rush out to heal others without doing the work yourself.
Mm.
The final thing on that one. It is it is it's easy for people to tell you what to do, and that can be dangerous if they have never applied it to themselves. I would say these last few months have given me different perspectives and different tools. Like I had to go through some major shit to develop more, awareness of self and more tools to continue to, share in the future. But I'm still sharpening them myself. And y'all see lately, I haven't even really been on social media and stuff like that because I had to be focusing on, I don't have the energetic allocation, at times. And it's okay. It's okay. Uh, please avoid needing to be in everybody's face all the time. People don't need to see you all the time, especially when you go through it. The right people see you.
Mm-hmm.
Allow those people to see you and be for you. Because those everybody's energy at one time, that can hurt you at times. Trying to appease the people. It's okay to sit down. It's okay to relax. It's okay to be an advocate for your own energy
Mm-hmm.
during that time.
Yeah. And to wrap it up, I thought I was done, but I have one more. Make sure that you are aligned with the person that you choose to work with on your healing. If you choose to seek guidance from other people, whether it's myself or Aaminah or anybody else, make sure you're aligned with that individual. When we already know not everybody's intention is pure, with what they want to do. We already know some people just they ain't what they say there. Okay. So make sure that you check with yourself. Intuition is a big one. Make sure you focus on developing your intuition. But as you learn more about who you are as a person, make sure you're tuning into yourself, checking how you feel before you choose to be connected with somebody energetically. Because that can bring a whole other different type of circumstance if you're not paying attention to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. You reminded me of something that Brother Ben X had said online. He said, we're all looking at social marketing from where the person says they are right now. But nobody looks at their journey to where they are. And that's important. You see this and it looks all glitz and glam, but where is their journey to where they are? So, that's a token. Well, honey, I thank you so much for sharing this time and this space with me and allowing us to share this with others. And let the people know how they can reach you too.
Well, my website is empressenergy.life. My Instagram is Empress Energy with the two E's, the Empress, the E in Empress, the first E in Empress is a 3. Dot the E in energy, the first E in energy is also a 3. So it's Empress.energy with 2 E's. The first 2 E's as 3's. Yes.
First
But
3's.
yes,
Hey.
go to empressenergy.life and that'll take you to wherever you gotta go.
Yes. And you can find me at my website, aminasaya.com. We have courses, even the ability to book a session on AAMINAHSAI.com. You can find me on IG at Essential Experience. Switch that up, Essential Experience. And for those who are still on Facebook, it is Aaminah Sai Coaching. Yeah. Oh, and YouTube, Aaminah Sai. I may put some more stuff. I'm not gonna promise, over promise and under deliver, but there are some things on the YouTube currently. So that is how y'all book us. I want you guys to remember to enjoy your day on purpose. Don't be afraid to ask yourselves the hard questions and be honest. Who's listening but you and your spirits? And y'all already know. So be honest with it. And it's within your honesty that you can really get the healing that you need for yourself. So until next time.
I did pull out some affirmation cards.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm rushing it. Pardon me.
I did pull out some divine feminine. There it's an oracle deck, but these are coming off as affirmations to me. So I'll just read them off really quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one says, "I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine." The second one is, "I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter." We're going to move into the third one. "Love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion."
Ooh, read that one.
Love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion.
I have to write that down for myself. Love is my lineage. Yeah, this is challenging my lineage right now.
And gratitude is my religion.
Yes. That's going to be the quote of the week.
Ow. The fourth one is, I call my power back from all times and all places. I am my own. And the last one, this was at the bottom of the deck.
Mhm.
It says, this is the presence of divine feminine. It says, at the center of everything, there's light, and I am that light. You are
I
divine.
love that one. At the center of everything is light, and I am that light.
Hmm?
Y'all better shine.
You are divinely guided. You are protected, even when it doesn't feel like it. You are divine. Everybody talks about angels and all that. You are the angel.
Having this human experience. Come on, angels. There's nothing else to be said after that. So, toodles.
Until next time.